My wife just told me she needs 2 weeks with her ex-husband for therapeutic closure. Let me repeat that. My wife of 7 years walked into our kitchen this Tuesday evening, poured herself a glass of wine, and announced she'd be spending 14 days reconnecting with the man she divorced before she met me. All in the name of mental health, of course. She had this whole presentation ready. Sat me down like I was attending a business meeting. Her therapist apparently discovered some unresolved trauma from her previous marriage that was affecting our relationship. The solution? 2 weeks of intensive sessions with her ex-husband to work through their past together. Face to face. Just the two of them. It's called closure therapy, she explained, scrolling through articles on her phone. Dr. Williams says it's revolutionary. I need to confront my past to fully commit to our future. I sipped my coffee and watched her perform. She had statistics about success rates, testimonials from couples who tried it, even a printout of the research study. Very thorough, very convincing, very much like someone who'd already made up her mind and was just looking for permission. How long has Dr. Williams been suggesting this? I asked. A few weeks now, but I wanted to make sure it was the right choice before bringing it up with you. A few weeks. She'd been planning this for weeks without mentioning it to me. The woman I shared a bed with every night had been crafting an exit strategy and calling it therapy. And where exactly would this closure happen? His cabin upstate. It's private, no distractions. We need complete focus to work through everything properly. His cabin. The same cabin where they honeymooned 12 years ago. The same cabin she'd mentioned fondly during our early dating days before catching herself and changing the subject. Now it was a therapeutic retreat center. She leaned forward, her hand covering mine. I know this sounds unusual, but our marriage means everything to me. I want to be the best wife I can be for you. This is the only way to clear the emotional baggage that's been holding us back. The performance was flawless. She had tears in her eyes, genuine concern in her voice, and a folder full of research to back up her claims. If I didn't know her as well as I did, I might have bought it completely. But I did know her. I knew how she tilted her head slightly when she was manipulating a situation. I knew how she over-explained when she was hiding something. I knew how she used our relationship as leverage when she wanted something badly enough. 2 weeks, I repeated slowly. Maximum. Dr. Williams thinks we might even finish early if the sessions go well. I set down my coffee cup and looked at her directly. Really looked at her. This woman I'd built a life with was asking for permission to spend 2 weeks alone with her ex-husband under the guise of therapy. She expected me to not only agree, but to support her decision emotionally and financially. The smart play here wasn't anger. It wasn't pleading or demanding she reconsider. The smart play was giving her exactly what she thought she wanted. You're absolutely right, I said, watching her face carefully. Therapy is incredibly important. If Dr. Williams thinks this will help our marriage, then we should definitely try it. Her relief was immediate and telling. She'd been prepared for a fight, ready with counterarguments and emotional manipulation. My calm agreement caught her completely off guard. Really? You're okay with this? Of course. I want you to be happy and healthy. If this is what it takes to clear your emotional baggage, then I'm supportive. She hugged me then, holding on longer than usual. Thank you for understanding. This is exactly why I married you. You're so emotionally mature. Emotionally mature. That's what she called it when I didn't react the way she expected. When I didn't give her the drama she was probably hoping for to justify whatever she'd already decided to do. When would you leave? I asked. This Saturday. I know it's short notice, but Dr. Williams had a cancellation and we could start immediately. This Saturday. For days away. She'd already booked the time off work, already made arrangements, already planned her exit. All that was left was getting my blessing to make herself feel better about it. I'll miss you, I said, and meant it. I would miss the woman I thought I'd married. But that woman was apparently someone else entirely. I'll call you every day to check in, she promised. And I'll send pictures of the progress we're making. Pictures of the progress. I wondered what kind of progress photos she planned to send from her ex-husband's romantic cabin retreat. That sounds perfect, I told her. Take all the time you need. She spent the rest of the evening planning her therapeutic getaway, making lists and researching local restaurants near the cabin. For closure purposes, of course. I sat in my chair, watching her excitement build, and began planning my own therapy. Because while she was exploring her past with another man, I was going to explore something much more interesting. A future without her. The irony wasn't lost on me that her need for closure was about to give me the clarity I'd been missing for months. Sometimes the best therapy is watching someone show you exactly who they really are. Saturday morning arrived with the kind of crisp autumn air that usually made me appreciate our quiet suburban life. She packed her bags with the efficiency of someone who'd been mentally preparing for weeks. 2 suitcases for a 14-day therapeutic retreat. That seemed like a lot of outfits for sitting around discussing emotional baggage. I packed some nice clothes in case we go out to dinner, she explained when she caught me glancing at her luggage. Part of the therapy involves recreating positive experiences to reframe negative memories. Recreating positive experiences with her ex-husband at romantic restaurants. For therapy, that makes perfect sense, I replied, helping her load the bags into her car. Healing takes many forms. She kissed me goodbye at the front door, holding on just a little too long again. I'll text you when I arrive safely. Drive carefully, I said, watching her pull out of our driveway with a smile on her face. The house felt different the moment her car disappeared around the corner. Not empty, exactly. More like it had been holding its breath and could finally exhale. I poured myself another cup of coffee and sat in the kitchen where she'd delivered her therapy announcement just 4 days earlier. That's when it hit me. The silence wasn't uncomfortable. It was peaceful. I spent the morning doing things I hadn't done in years. Read the newspaper cover to cover. Watched a documentary about World War II without someone commenting every 5 minutes about how depressing it was. Made myself a proper breakfast instead of grabbing a granola bar on the way out. Around noon, my phone buzzed with her first check-in text. Arrived safely. The cabin is beautiful. Starting our first session after lunch. Love you. The cabin is beautiful. Our first session. Love you. Each phrase carefully crafted to maintain the therapeutic narrative while sharing her excitement about this adventure. I texted back, glad you made it. Focus on your healing. No, love you too. No questions about the cabin or the sessions. Just acknowledgement that she was where she wanted to be, doing what she wanted to do. The afternoon gave me time to think without her constant presence filling every corner of our space. When had I stopped noticing how she dominated conversations? When had I started editing my opinions to avoid her corrections? When had I become someone who needed permission to watch what I wanted on television? I called my brother that evening, something I hadn't done in months. How's married life treating you? He asked, the same question he'd been asking for 7 years. Actually, she's away for a couple weeks. Some kind of therapy retreat. Therapy retreat? That's new. Everything okay? I paused, really considering the question for the first time in a long while. You know what? I'm not sure it has been okay for a while now. We talked for 2 hours. About work, about our childhood, about plans for hunting season that I'd forgotten I used to enjoy. Normal conversation between 2 adults without someone monitoring every word for potential offense or redirection. Sunday brought another text. Had an amazing breakthrough yesterday. Going hiking today to process everything in nature. This is exactly what I needed. Going hiking, processing in nature, with her ex-husband, who apparently had become quite the outdoor therapist. I responded, sounds productive. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I called my old college buddy and made plans to catch the game at a sports bar. No checking with anyone about schedules or getting approval for how I spent my Sunday afternoon. The sports bar was exactly what I remembered. Loud, friendly, and full of people enjoying themselves without analyzing every interaction for deeper meaning. I ordered nachos without worrying about someone commenting on my dietary choices. I had 3 beers without getting a lecture about alcohol consumption. You seem different, my friend commented during halftime. More relaxed or something. Just enjoying some time to myself. Where's the wife? On a therapeutic journey. He laughed. Aren't we all, man? Aren't we all? Driving home that evening, I realized I'd gone an entire day without thinking about her dramatic retreat or wondering what she was really doing at that cabin. I'd simply lived my life like a single man who didn't need to justify his choices to anyone. Monday morning brought routine back into focus. Work, coffee, the normal rhythm of weekday life. But something had fundamentally shifted in my perspective. I wasn't waiting for her to come home. I was appreciating the space her absence created. Her text that day was longer. Missing you so much. But the work we're doing is incredible. I can already feel myself becoming a better partner. Can't wait to show you the new me when I get home. The new me, as if the current version had been defective and needed repair. as if spending 2 weeks with her ex-husband was going to transform her into someone worthy of our marriage. I stared at that message for a long time before responding. Take all the time you need. That evening, I did something that surprised even me. I called a lawyer, not for divorce papers or legal advice about infidelity, just to understand my options, to know what financial separation looked like, to get clarity about property division and asset protection. Just exploring possibilities, I told the attorney. Want to understand my rights in case things change. Smart approach, he said. Knowledge is power in any relationship. Knowledge is power. And for the first time in years, I was gathering knowledge instead of just accepting whatever narrative someone else created. Tuesday brought the most interesting text yet. Weather has been perfect for all our outdoor activities. Feeling so connected to nature and my authentic self. This experience is life-changing. Outdoor activities, authentic self, life-changing experiences, all happening 4 hours away from our marriage with a man she used to sleep with every night. I saved that message and started a new folder on my phone. Evidence, not for legal proceedings, but for clarity. Sometimes you need to see the pattern written out to fully understand what you're dealing with. My therapy was just beginning, and unlike hers, mine was actually helping our marriage by showing me exactly what it had become. By Wednesday, her communication pattern had shifted from therapeutic updates to household management instructions. The first call came during my lunch break. Hey, just checking in. How's everything at home? Did you remember to water my plants? Her plants, not our plants. Her plants that I apparently was expected to maintain while she worked on her emotional growth with another man. The plants are fine, I said simply. Great. And make sure you're eating properly. There's leftover casserole in the fridge that should last you a few more days. She was managing me from 4 hours away, making sure I was following the routine she'd established, checking that I was being a good house sitter while she played house with someone else. I'm handling everything here, I told her. Perfect. Oh, and don't forget to bring in the mail. Sometimes important bills arrive midweek. Bills, mail, plants. She was treating me like hired help, not her husband. The woman who was supposedly working on becoming a better partner was giving me a to-do list while she vacationed with her ex. Anything else? I asked. Nope, that covers it. Love you, miss you. The call ended before I could respond, which was fine because I wasn't planning to say it back anyway. Thursday's call was more of the same. How's the house? Everything running smoothly? Did you check the thermostat? You know how you forget to adjust it when the weather changes. How I forget. As if I'd been incompetent at managing our home for 7 years, and only her constant supervision kept everything functioning. The house is exactly as it should be, I replied. Wonderful. Oh, and my sister might stop by this weekend to pick up those books she lent me. They're on the coffee table in the living room. Her sister, who she'd obviously coordinated with while planning this therapeutic getaway. Another person who knew about her plans before I did. I'll handle it. You're the best. This time away is giving me such perspective on how lucky I am to have you. Lucky to have me. The man she'd left behind to water plants and manage her social calendar while she explored her past with another man. Friday brought the most revealing call yet. She was breathless with excitement. Background noise suggesting they were at a restaurant. Quick check-in. How's your week going? Are you keeping busy? Are you keeping busy? Like I was a child who needed entertainment while the adults handled important matters. Very busy, I said truthfully. I'd spent the week researching divorce attorneys, reviewing our financial accounts, and scheduling appointments to understand my legal options. That's great. We're just grabbing dinner at this amazing little place overlooking the lake. The sunset is incredible. Dinner, sunset, lake views. Very therapeutic. Very romantic. Very much like a couple's retreat disguised as medical treatment. Sounds productive, I replied. Oh, it has been. We've made so much progress. I feel like I'm finally understanding myself for the first time in years. Understanding herself. While having romantic dinners with her ex-husband. While leaving her current husband at home to maintain her domestic arrangements. That's exactly what you wanted, I said. Exactly. Anyway, I should go. The appetizers just arrived, and it would be rude to stay on the phone. Rude to stay on the phone with her husband while dining with her ex. She had her priorities straight. After she hung up, I decided to do something I probably should have done days earlier. I opened Instagram and searched for her ex-husband's account. The photos told a different story than her therapeutic narrative. Yesterday's hiking adventure looked remarkably like a romantic nature walk. Today's dinner reservation was at one of the most expensive restaurants in the area, not exactly the kind of place you'd choose for trauma processing. But the most interesting detail was in the backgrounds. Wine glasses in every photo, sunset views, cozy cabin interiors with a fireplace. She was documenting their reunion like a honeymoon, not a medical procedure. I screenshot everything and added it to my evidence folder. Not because I planned to use it in court, but because I needed to see the full picture of what she thought she was getting away with. Saturday morning brought a text instead of a call. Weekend plans with therapy continue. Weather perfect for more outdoor healing. Hope you're having a good weekend too. Weekend plans. Outdoor healing. She wasn't even trying to maintain the medical pretense anymore. This was a vacation with her ex-husband funded by our joint savings account and justified by a therapist who probably existed only in her imagination. I spent Saturday afternoon doing something I hadn't done since before we were married. I drove to the local hardware store and bought supplies for projects around the house. Not repairs or maintenance she'd requested, but improvements I wanted to make. Started with the spare bedroom that had become her storage space for clothes she never wore and exercise equipment she never used. Cleared everything out and set it up as a proper home office. My home office, with my desk, my computer setup, and my choice of wall color. Sunday, she called while I was assembling furniture. "How's your weekend going? You sound busy." "Very productive," I said, tightening bolts on a desk she'd never seen and would never use. "That's great. We're having such a beautiful final day. I almost don't want it to end. Almost don't want it to end." The therapeutic retreat that was supposed to heal our marriage had become such a wonderful experience that she didn't want to return to our actual marriage. "You should take all the time you need," I repeated, the phrase that had become my standard response. "Well, we've scheduled a few follow-up sessions for next month. Dr. Williams thinks consistency is important for lasting change." Follow-up sessions. Next month. This wasn't a 2-week healing process. This was the beginning of a long-term arrangement disguised as therapy. "That sounds very thorough," I said. "I knew you'd understand. You're so supportive of my growth." Supportive of her growth. That's what she called it when I didn't interfere with her plans to cheat on our marriage while calling it medical treatment. After the call ended, I sat in my new office space and realized something important. She wasn't coming home to work on our marriage. She was coming home to manage the domestic arrangements while maintaining her new relationship on the side. But she'd made one crucial miscalculation. She'd assumed I would be the same man she'd left behind. She'd expected to return to a husband who would continue accepting whatever story she decided to tell. Instead, she was about to meet the man I'd become during her therapeutic absence. Someone who'd spent 2 weeks learning to live without her constant management and manipulation. Someone who'd discovered he preferred it that way. Monday morning of the second week marked the beginning of my real transformation. While she continued her therapeutic vacation, I began systematically restructuring my life like a man who'd been given a glimpse of his future and decided to take control of it. First stop was the bank. I walked into our branch and requested a private consultation about our joint accounts. The financial advisor, a sharp woman in her 40s, spread our statements across her desk like evidence in a case I was finally ready to prosecute. "I need to understand our financial separation options," I told her. "Hypothetically speaking." She nodded professionally. "Smart to explore your options before you need them. Let's review what you're working with." The numbers told their own story. Our joint savings had been steadily depleted over the past 6 months. Small withdrawals that I'd never questioned, gradual transfers that seemed reasonable when explained as necessary expenses. Looking at the pattern now, it was clear she'd been planning this therapeutic retreat for much longer than a few weeks. These withdrawals here, the advisor pointed to a series of transactions. "Do you recognize them?" "Some of them." The ones I recognized were the obvious ones she'd mentioned. Car repairs, medical bills, routine expenses. The others were smaller amounts that had slipped past my attention. "Death by 1,000 cuts to our financial stability. I'd recommend establishing individual accounts alongside your joint holdings," she suggested. "Protect your income while maintaining shared expenses." By the end of the meeting, I'd opened my own checking and savings accounts. My paychecks would now be split automatically, half to joint expenses, half to accounts she couldn't access or monitor. Financial independence in case her therapeutic journey led where I suspected it was heading. Tuesday brought another household management call from her retreat. How's everything going? Any problems with the house? Everything's under control, I replied, standing in my newly organized home office. Great. Oh, I meant to mention, when I get back, we should look at refinancing the mortgage. Interest rates are really good right now. Refinancing. She wanted to restructure our largest debt while maintaining her new relationship on the side. Lock me into financial obligations while she explored her options with another man. We should definitely discuss major financial decisions when you get home, I said carefully. Exactly. This time away has given me so much clarity about our future together. Our future together. The future where she managed our finances while conducting follow-up therapy sessions with her ex-husband indefinitely. Wednesday, I took a personal day and drove to the law office I'd researched. The attorney was a straightforward man who dealt with relationship dissolution like a surgeon discussing necessary procedures. Divorce isn't always the answer, he explained, but you should understand the process before you need it. He walked me through property division, spousal support calculations, and timeline expectations. Nothing dramatic or vindictive, just practical information about legal separation in our state. The key is documentation, he emphasized. Financial records, communication patterns, evidence of separate living arrangements. Build your case gradually if you think you'll need it. I left his office with a folder of information and a clear understanding of my rights. Knowledge, as he'd said the week before, was power. That evening, she called with updates about their therapeutic breakthrough. We had such an intense session today, really digging deep into our past patterns and how they affected both our marriages. Both our marriages. She was discussing our current marriage with her ex-husband as part of their healing process, analyzing my role in her life with the man she'd been married to before me. That sounds very thorough, I replied. It really is. He's been so patient with helping me understand myself. I'm learning things about relationships that I never knew before. Learning about relationships from her ex-husband, while her current husband managed the practical details of her domestic life from a distance. Thursday brought the most revealing conversation yet. She called while I was cooking dinner for one, something I'd grown to enjoy over the past week. Quick question. Do you remember where I put the spare key to my jewelry box? My sister wants to borrow my pearl necklace for a wedding next weekend. Her jewelry box. Her pearl necklace. Her sister, who was apparently coordinating social events while she was away on her therapeutic retreat. I haven't seen it, I said truthfully. I'd never been given access to her jewelry box anyway. That's weird. I thought I left it in the kitchen drawer. Could you look around for it? Could I look around? She expected me to search through our house to find items for her sister to borrow while she was having romantic dinners with another man. I'm sure your sister can find something else to wear, I said. Well, yes, but those pearls would be perfect for her dress. They belong to our grandmother. Our grandmother. Family heirlooms that apparently needed to be distributed while she was away working on her marriage with someone else. I'll keep an eye out, I lied. Thanks. You're so helpful. I don't know what I'd do without you holding everything together while I'm gone. Holding everything together. Managing her domestic responsibilities while she built a new relationship. Being useful while being replaced. Friday brought her final check-in call before returning home. She was practically bouncing with excitement. Last day of this phase of therapy. I feel like a completely new person. You're going to love the changes I've made. The changes she'd made. During 2 weeks with her ex-husband. Changes that apparently had nothing to do with our marriage and everything to do with her rediscovered connection to her past. I'm sure it's been transformative, I said. It really has. And the best part is we've established such a strong foundation for future sessions. Dr. Williams thinks monthly follow-ups will be perfect for maintaining progress. Monthly follow-ups. A permanent arrangement disguised as ongoing medical treatment. A schedule that would give her regular vacations with her ex-husband while keeping me home to manage her other responsibilities. That's quite a commitment, I observed. The best things in life require commitment, right? Speaking of which, I should be home around 5 tomorrow. Could you pick up some wine for dinner? I want to celebrate our new beginning. Our new beginning. The fresh start to our marriage that she'd discovered while spending 2 weeks with another man. Wine to celebrate the future she'd planned without consulting me. I'll handle the dinner preparations, I told her. Perfect. I can't wait to share everything I've learned. This is going to change everything for us. After she hung up, I walked through the house I'd been managing alone for 2 weeks. The space felt different now. Cleaner, somehow. More organized. More peaceful. She was coming home expecting to find the same man she'd left behind. The accommodating husband who accepted her explanations and supported her decisions without question. Instead, she was about to meet someone who'd spent her absence learning to live independently. Someone who discovered he preferred making his own decisions about everything from dinner plans to financial arrangements. Someone who was ready to have a very different conversation about new beginnings than the one she was planning. I opened a bottle of wine that evening, not to prepare for her homecoming celebration, but to toast my own transformation. Because while she'd been exploring her past, I'd been building my future. And that future was looking very different than the one she was expecting to return to. She arrived home Saturday evening with the glow of someone returning from the vacation of a lifetime. 2 weeks of freedom had left her refreshed, confident, and completely unprepared for what she was about to discover. I heard her car pull into the driveway while I was reading in my new office. The same book I'd started the day she left, now nearly finished without interruption or commentary about my reading choices. I didn't rush to greet her at the door. "Honey, I'm home," she called out, her voice carrying that artificial cheer people use when they're performing happiness. I finished the paragraph I was reading before walking downstairs. She stood in our entryway surrounded by luggage, arms spread wide for the reunion embrace she'd been anticipating. "Welcome back," I said, giving her a brief hug that felt more like a polite greeting than a romantic reunion. She pulled back, studying my face. "You seem different. More relaxed or something." "2 weeks of quiet will do that," I replied. She laughed, but it sounded forced. "Well, wait until you hear about my transformation. This experience was incredible. Life-changing, really. I'm sure it was." She waited for me to ask questions, to show enthusiasm about her therapeutic breakthrough. When I didn't, she filled the silence herself. The work we did was so intense, really digging deep into patterns and behaviors that have been affecting all my relationships. I learned things about myself that I never knew before. Sounds educational. Another pause. She was starting to notice that my responses weren't matching her energy level. "Should we open that wine, and I can tell you all about it? I have so much to share." "If you'd like." She followed me to the kitchen, chattering about the cabin, the therapeutic process, the breakthrough moments she'd experienced. But her enthusiasm was beginning to fade as she noticed subtle changes in our space. "Did you rearrange the coffee maker?" "Moved it to a more convenient spot." "And where are my magazines from the counter?" "Organized them in the living room." Small changes, but enough to signal that the house had been functioning perfectly well without her management. She poured herself wine while I opened a beer, another deviation from our usual shared bottle routine. "So," she said, settling at the kitchen table where she'd announced her therapeutic plans 2 weeks earlier. "I want to hear everything about your time alone. How did you handle being by yourself for so long?" "How did I handle it?" As if living independently for 2 weeks had been some kind of survival challenge rather than a pleasant break from constant supervision. "I managed fine," I said simply. "Of course you did. But you must have missed having someone to talk to share meals with, to make decisions together." She was fishing for reassurance that I'd been lost without her, that her absence had created a void only she could fill. Actually, it was quite peaceful. That word hung in the air between us. Peaceful. Not lonely. Not difficult, not challenging. Peaceful. Well, yes, I'm sure the quiet was nice for a while. But don't you want to hear about everything I discovered about us? About how to make our marriage even stronger. Our marriage. The relationship she'd been analyzing with her ex-husband while having romantic dinners and sunset walks. "What did you discover?" I asked, genuinely curious about what narrative she'd constructed. For the next hour, she delivered what sounded like a rehearsed presentation about communication patterns, emotional availability, and relationship dynamics. According to her therapeutic breakthrough, our marriage had been suffering from my tendency to withdraw and her inability to express her needs clearly. The solution, she explained excitedly, was regular check-ins, scheduled intimacy, and continued therapy sessions to maintain their progress. And the best part, she concluded, is that Dr. Williams thinks monthly follow-up sessions will be enough to keep us on track. Just 1 weekend a month to maintain the breakthrough we've achieved. 1 weekend a month. 12 therapeutic vacations per year with her ex-husband. Scheduled infidelity disguised as medical treatment. "That's quite a commitment," I said. "The best investments require commitment, right?" And this is an investment in our future together. Our future together. The future where she disappeared monthly while I maintained the household and waited for her to return with new insights about our relationship. Speaking of future plans, I said, I've been thinking about some changes myself. Her face lit up. Really? That's wonderful. The time apart must have given you perspective too. It did. I've realized I prefer making my own decisions about daily routines. The house runs smoothly when I manage it independently. She nodded enthusiastically, missing the implications entirely. Exactly. Independence within marriage is so healthy. Dr. Williams says couples need individual space to grow. Individual space to grow. Perfect justification for her monthly retreats with another man. I've also been thinking about our financial arrangements. I continued. Oh good. I was hoping we could discuss refinancing the mortgage. Interest rates are perfect right now. Actually, I was thinking more about separating our accounts. Managing money independently while sharing household expenses. This got her attention. Her therapeutic glow dimmed slightly. Separate accounts? Why would we need that? We've always shared everything. Independence, like you said. Individual space to grow financially. She set down her wine glass. But shared finances are a sign of commitment. It shows we're building a life together. Building a life together. While she built a separate life with someone else one weekend per month. I think it's time we both had more autonomy, I said calmly. Autonomy. She repeated the word like it tasted bitter. Since when do you want autonomy? You've never minded sharing decisions before. Since when? Since I'd spent 2 weeks living as an independent adult and discovered I preferred it to being managed like a domestic employee. People change, I said. I thought you'd appreciate that, given your own transformation. She studied my face, trying to read what was happening. The reunion wasn't going according to her script. Of course people change. But marriage is about growing together, not apart. Growing together. While she grew closer to her ex-husband during monthly therapeutic retreats. Then we should probably discuss what growing together looks like going forward, I said. Absolutely. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. The future we're going to build based on everything I've learned. Everything she'd learned. During 2 weeks of romantic dinners and sunset walks with another man. Knowledge she'd gained while her husband managed her domestic responsibilities from a distance. I'd like to hear your vision for that future, I said. For the next 30 minutes, she outlined a future that looked remarkably like our past, with one notable addition. Monthly therapeutic retreats that were non-negotiable for our relationship's health. Everything else would remain the same. I would continue managing household responsibilities while she pursued her growth with professional guidance. It's perfect, don't you think? She concluded. I get the therapeutic support I need, and you get a wife who's constantly working on becoming better for you. Perfect. A wife who disappeared monthly to cheat while calling it therapy, returning home to a husband who was expected to be grateful for her commitment to improvement. It's certainly a comprehensive plan, I said. I knew you'd understand. You're so supportive of my growth. Supportive of her growth. That phrase again. What she called it when I didn't interfere with her plans to systematically destroy our marriage while maintaining plausible deniability. As she continued talking about our bright future together, I realized she genuinely believed her plan would work. She thought she could have both relationships indefinitely, managing one as a wife and the other as a patient. But she'd made one crucial miscalculation. She'd assumed the man she'd left behind would still be here when she returned. Instead, she was talking to someone who'd spent her absence learning to live without her constant presence and preferred it that way. Someone who was about to show her exactly what growing apart looked like. Sunday morning brought the conversation I'd been preparing for since the day she left. She woke up expecting to continue planning our therapeutic future together. Instead, she was about to discover that her husband had been conducting his own therapy sessions. We need to talk, I said, setting divorce papers on the kitchen table next to her coffee cup. Her face went white. What is this? Your therapeutic breakthrough had some unexpected side effects. While you were exploring your past with your ex-husband, I explored something more interesting. A future without you. She stared at the papers like they were written in a foreign language. This is insane. We just need to work through this together. That's what therapy is for. You're absolutely right. Therapy is important. That's why I got my own. Your own therapy? 2 weeks of clarity therapy. Very effective. I learned that I don't need someone who disappears monthly to cheat while calling it medical treatment. Cheat. Her voice cracked. It wasn't cheating. It was legitimate therapy with professional supervision. I pulled out my phone and showed her the Instagram photos I'd saved. Romantic dinners, sunset walks, cozy cabin interiors, wine glasses in every shot. Very therapeutic, I said. Especially the part where you documented your romantic vacation like a honeymoon. She grabbed for the phone, but I pulled it back. We had to eat dinner somewhere. And the sunset was just there. You're so stupid and manipulative that you didn't even try to hide your betrayal. You actually thought you'd get away with this whole closure therapy bullshit with your ex-husband. Her face crumpled. It wasn't like that. We were working through our past to help our marriages. Our marriages? You discussed our marriage with him? While having romantic dinners and sleeping in the same cabin where you honeymooned. We had separate bedrooms. I don't care if you slept in separate states. You chose him over me for 2 weeks and planned to do it monthly for the rest of our marriage. She started crying, reaching for my hand. Please, we can fix this. I made a mistake, but we can work through it together. I pulled my hand away before she could touch me. Don't even think about touching me, you disgusting piece of trash. You're not the woman I married. You're filthy inside and out. That's not fair. I was trying to become a better wife for you. A better wife? You abandoned your marriage to play house with your ex-husband while I managed your domestic responsibilities like hired help. You wanted me to water your plants while you watered your past. It wasn't abandonment. I called you every day to give me chores, to make sure I was being a good house sitter while you rebuilt your relationship with him. She dropped to her knees, sobbing. Please don't do this. I love you. We can go to real therapy together. We can fix this. Get up. Your performance is pathetic. It's not a performance. I'm begging you to save our marriage. You destroyed our marriage the moment you chose him over me. Now deal with the consequences. She tried to grab my legs, but I stepped back. Please, I'll do anything. I'll never see him again. I'll quit therapy. I'll do whatever you want. What I want is for you to disappear from my life. Go crawl back to your ex-husband. Maybe if you beg him as pathetically as you're begging me, he'll give you a roof over your head. He won't take me back. He's married. This was just therapy. Then you should have thought about that before you threw away your marriage for therapeutic dick appointments. She collapsed on the floor, sobbing hysterically. This isn't how it was supposed to go. You were supposed to be grateful that I was working on myself. Grateful? You expected gratitude for cheating while calling it medical treatment? For planning monthly vacations with your ex while keeping me home as your domestic manager? I thought you understood. I thought you supported my growth. I supported your growth right out of my life. Congratulations. Your therapy worked perfectly. I walked to the door and opened it. Get out. Take your bags and get out of my house. Our house. My house. Check the papers. I've been busy while you were growing. She crawled toward me, still sobbing. Please don't throw away 7 years of marriage. We can start over. I'll be different. You're right. You will be different. You'll be single. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. Maybe your therapeutic partner has room for another patient. She finally stood up, mascara running down her face. You're making a huge mistake. We love each other. You love having someone to manage your life while you explore other options. I love not being that person anymore. This is cruel. What's cruel is expecting someone to thank you for betraying them. Now get out before I call the police to escort you. She gathered her bags with shaking hands, crying the entire time. At the door, she turned back one final time. I hope you're happy with yourself. I will be. Starting now. The door closed behind her, and for the first time in 2 weeks, the house was exactly as peaceful as it should be. My therapy was complete.